Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with us. Proud to be an American? That's the focus of tonight's angle. It's not a good streak. Today, Senate Democrats lost the battle to derail Trump's big, beautiful bill.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being evenly divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
Democrats have lost case after case at the Supreme Court, and they're slowly losing their ideological monopoly at colleges and university. They've lost America on the trans issue. And of course, they're steadily losing ground among young men and Hispanics. And the trend of losing extends to another area, patriotism. They're losing that too. In the 1980s, when I was a kid and a student, the nation overall was extremely patriotic. The Reagan era was Top Gun all the way. But over the past 20 years, the percentage of Americans who say they're extremely or very proud to be an American has been declining. It's been falling from 83% to 58%. But when you look more closely, that slide is almost entirely due to the fact that Democrats' pride in the country is cratering. Check out these numbers. Republican patriotism only slipped by 1% over 2 decades, 93 to 92%. But among Democrats, pride in the country dropped a staggering 45%, from a robust 81% in 2005 to a pathetic 36% today. 36? What? A Harvard Political Review survey from earlier this year saw similarly sad results. Only 41% of young Americans said they were proud to be American, but among young Democrats, only 24% expressed pride. And from last year's long-running survey of high school seniors in the Atlantic, only 27% of high school seniors agreed that the U.S. system was the best in the world. That is a huge decline from 67% who thought that in the early 1980s. Now, this crisis in patriotism is real, shouldn't be ignored. And while both parties contributed to it through terrible economic policies and unnecessary wars, the Democrats really started digging in with Obama, when they deliberately fed our young people a steady diet of anti-American propaganda. Remember, they're only really happy with America when they get their way. They loved the pandemic, remember, with millions of Americans stuck at home, couldn't go to church, a lot of them couldn't go to work. But other than that, America's just a place that has a lot of sins to atone for.
And let me tell you something. For the first time in my adult life, I am proud of my country because it feels like hope is finally making a comeback.
There have been times where America's shown arrogance and been dismissive, even derisive.
The systemic racism is a stain on our nation's soul.
The origins of racism cannot be separated from the origins of capitalism. The origins of capitalism cannot be separated from the origins of racism. The life of racism cannot be separated from the life of capitalism, and vice versa.
On college campuses, this message is common. Those words of Ibram Kendi, systemic racism, capitalism, it passes as enlightened history today. And of course, rather than attempting even a nuanced view of America, legacy media and most Democrats, they keep the lies going. They feed the beast of anti-Americanism for votes. They don't just lie about America, but they lie about those who are trying to help America. So we've gone now from having run-of-the-mill political disagreements to promoting anti-American and sometimes even violent reactions. If deranged people, disturbed people, especially young progressives, really, in their heart of hearts, believe that Trump and MAGA will never allow another election to be held, that Trump will deport American citizens he disagrees with, that America is a racist country, then look, this slide in patriotism is as predictable as what we've seen in our streets. More foreign flags waving and more American flags burning.
Down with U.S. imperialism!
Did they ever ask, by the way, that if Trump was a fascist, you heard those chants? How is it, if it's a fascist country, that other parties and other party members feel free to vote, against his signature legislation? People in his own party can vote against his signature legislation. If he's truly that dangerous as a president, then why were the No King's Day protests even allowed to take place? This is so ludicrous. But the anti-American themes are repeated everywhere. Now, this is one of the dumbest headlines ever from the New York Times. Trump's America is beginning to look more like China. The opinion piece claims that Trump's return to office has made clear that in important respects, democratic erosion, the fixation on strong borders, the curbing of free speech, other numerous examples, America is starting to look a bit more like China. Honestly, it's not really worth responding to, but now having a real border qualifies in these pea brains of being a dictatorship, and deporting non-citizen terror sympathizers as communists? And I love it. Whenever liberals opine about democratic erosion, we should all let out a collective howl. Because where was their concern about attacks on democracy when they tried to kick Trump off the ticket? Or, of course, when they pushed out their own nominee? The truth is, Democrats are the ones who've had the problem with democracy all along. And they sure do have a problem with American exceptionalism. They don't believe it. At times, they even say the quiet part out loud.
America great again. It was never that great. We have not reached greatness. We will reach greatness when every American is fully engaged.
That's a golden oldie. Now, from AOC to now Mamdani to far-left politicians in L.A. and Minneapolis and beyond, they believe in their heart of hearts that America can only be redeemed when she's totally dismantled and then remade, with millions of new people from other countries, with a total destruction of capitalism, and, of course, doing away with all our historical traditions. That's why they ripped down all the statues. Now, as Trump is out there swinging for the fences to grow the economy, to bring peace to war-torn regions, to keep Americans safe, the other party has nothing to offer but this same type of bitterness, resentment, and slander toward our country. So when will sensible Democrats see that anti-Americanism is hurting them politically? Don't they remember what happened when they lost America in the 1980s? All their fury, all their bitterness cannot stop the president and his team from rebuilding and building a new era of peace and prosperity. Look, Independence Day is almost here. We should all celebrate together, be proud of our country together, regardless of which party's in charge. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.